This journey all started for me about 16 years ago when my grandfather was sadly diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Back then, I was only 10 and had absolutely no idea what impact this was going to have on my life as well as my grandfather's. He had just retired from an extremely successful career working in the building industry and was looking forward to his retirement when he was diagnosed. It was always tough for me and my family to see how the disease slowly took away his ability to enjoy the rest of his life. So fast forward on 9 years, and I'm studying product design at Kingston University. And a case of serendipity, was given a project by the RSA to develop a product that would help to improve the quality of life of people in long-term healthcare. So obviously, my grandfather was the first place I looked to start. As his disease progressed, he became an avid jigsaw puzzle enthusiast. We started with 1,000-piece jigsaws, then we quickly moved on to 200-piece, and then eventually we were doing 50-piece jigsaws that were designed for children. And soon after that, the house then filled up with activities and children's products. It was frustrating for me to see that such a great man was having to resort to using Disney cartoons on his jigsaws to keep him entertained when he had absolutely no idea who these people were or had absolutely no relevance to his life whatsoever. So I was determined to find a suitable alternative to keep him entertained. Further research then led me to discover some of the statistics around Alzheimer's and was shocked to discover that there's over 800,000 people currently living in the UK with dementia, with some form of dementia, and that costs £23 billion per year in care costs. Now, put that in perspective, that's more than the treatment for cancer, heart disease, and strokes combined. And I couldn't believe that a problem of this size was being solved by sitting people in front of televisions and giving them children's toys. So by this point, I'd obviously found the brief for my project. So I wanted to start with my grandfather's jigsaws. I thought, how hard can it be to take a 5-year-old's activity and turn it into an 85-year-old's activity? The problem was the same. They needed to be simple, easy to use, durable, and easy to clean. Simply just change the image from a Disney cartoon into a London bus, for example. But as with all these things, it wasn't quite that easy. The difference seemed to be between Alzheimer's and a kid could learn how to do an activity, whereas someone with dementia was essentially looking at that product for the first time, as far as they were concerned. And mix that with visual impairment problems and problems with dexterity, and the solution certainly wasn't that easy. So over time, I had noticed that my grandfather had problems starting an activity. But once he was going, the memory suddenly came flushing back, and he was able to finish it by himself. This was clearly illustrated when cleaning his teeth. He would look blankly at the toothbrush, absolutely no idea what it was for. And if you think about it, a toothbrush is a pretty weird object. And I'm not sure either you or I would know what to do with it if we'd seen it for the first time and we didn't have dementia. However, once I put the toothpaste on the brush, put the brush in his mouth, and made the first few brush strokes, suddenly the light bulb came on, and he was able to finish cleaning his teeth by himself. It was the same problem with the jigsaw. It was the first few pieces that were really hard for him. But once those were done, he was off. So how could I design a jigsaw that was so intuitive that he was able to complete it unassisted? After a lot of failed attempts, this was the solution we came to. Basically, using large, irregular-shaped pieces that matched up to colored backgrounds on the board. This meant he could easily put down the first few pieces, and then the rest quickly followed. Surrounded by the frame that goes around the outside and using a simple image of a Spitfire that wouldn't overload his processing the visual information. And he used to work in the war on Spitfires as an engineer, so the image then triggered some memories and conversation after it was completed. So before, he was unable to complete even a 3-year-old's jigsaw by himself, but with this product, he was able to do it within 15 minutes by himself, completely unassisted, and the sense of satisfaction that gave him was absolutely clear to see. So then another stroke of good luck. The project was picked up by a professor at the university, Hilary Dowkey, who happened to be a specialist researcher in design for people with dementia. And she loved the idea and ended up finding a little bit of funding for me to get the first products into production. So I partnered with St George's Hospital, if we go to the next slide, and over the course of a year developed 16 prototypes and tested them in care homes across Surrey until we came to the final product. Should we go to the next slide? Which, as you can see here, is considerably better than the children's jigsaws that my granddad was having to use up until now. We then had enough money left over to make 100 jigsaws that I could then sell into the care homes that we've been trialing them. The instant response was huge. We sold them all in 2 weeks and then used the proceeds of that to then manufacture the next products. Over the next 3 years beyond that point, with a fantastic support from UnLtd and a lot of long hours and a lot of hard work, we now have over 70 different products in our range. We sold over 20,000 products in 11 different countries, and we've helped improve the quality of life of over 24,000 people living with dementia. So over this journey, it has taught me how I can use my skills as a product designer to help improve other people's lives. So I want to leave you with a question of how can you use your skills to help improve someone else's life? Thank you.